Lamar Jackson officially returns back to practice after missing most of the first week with an illness. So absolutely great news from the Ravens. This story stole the headlines through the first week and was made kind of a bigger story than I thought it needed to be, but I'll dive into that in just a minute. First, I want to show you what Coach Harbaugh said when asked about Lamar Jackson returning to practice, and then I will give you a little reaction from that.
John, Lamar was out there today. From your viewpoint, how did he make it out of practice today?
Yeah, I thought he did really well. I mean, especially considering the fact he's had to come back from being sick. I thought he looked good. He had a lot of energy. I know he worked really hard to get out here and worked really hard to make sure he was ready to put his best foot forward as best as he could. I thought he did. And even as the practice went on, you could see him kind of finding himself even more and more. So I was really happy about it.
So obviously this is a great news that Lamar Jackson returned and is feeling better, but like I alluded to earlier, I thought this was made a much bigger story than it needed to be. First of all, everybody gets sick, but don't let this fool you. This was a prime opportunity for the Lamar naysayers to come out of the woodwork and once again find something to criticize Lamar for. I don't know if it's because it's Lamar Jackson and they just need something to criticize for, but look, once again, if you were reading what people were saying, people were saying that, oh, he always misses time. He always gets sick this time of year. And some people even started relating this to being injured, and which makes no sense at all, because in that case, every single person that has ever walked the face of the earth ever is injury prone because everybody gets sick. But I'm not going to dive into that because it just becomes repetitive and there's no new arguments. It's just regurgitated garbage that everybody wants to spit out about Lamar. Obviously, this is great news that Lamar Jackson is back and feeling a lot better. It sounds like the offense was really starting to hit their stride and Lamar was starting to kind of hit his stride Saturday during that practice. Coach Harbaugh was asked about the difference it makes having Lamar Jackson back at practice, and this is what he had to say.
Does that make when he's out there? Outside the obvious, it's Lamar.
Well, I mean, I think it's a good point, Brian, and it probably is the obvious. I mean, I don't know if I could say anything other than the fact that your starting quarterback, he's the best quarterback in football, we believe, and we're determined to prove it. And he's out there today working with the guys. It makes a big difference.
Now, I played that clip because it reminded me of something that Coach Harbaugh said about a week ago about Lamar Jackson and the vision of him being the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. And, of course, this was, once again, taken a lot of different directions, right? When I first saw the headline, I'm not going to lie, I was like, why are we talking about, look, I love Lamar as much as anybody, so I'll preface what I'm about to say with that, but Lamar Jackson is not in the GOAT debate at this point. Maybe the greatest dual threat quarterback, we can have that debate, absolutely, but if you read more of what he said, it's the vision they have for Lamar Jackson and the vision Lamar Jackson has for himself, which is fantastic. I think every player has that, right? Like what player is not going into their career wanting to be the best ever at what they do? Maybe some, but I don't think you get to that level not having that competitive fire. Now, at this point, I'm certainly not going to argue with anybody that says that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the National Football League. And I know that may make a lot of Ravens fans unhappy that I would say that. And like I said, I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan, but I can't argue with somebody who's had the success and dominance that Patrick Mahomes has had since becoming a starter with 3 Super Bowl rings as well as 2 MVPs. Lamar Jackson, I would put it at a 2, which is certainly not a bad thing. I love Lamar Jackson. I'm so glad he suits up for Baltimore and that he's going to be there for the foreseeable future. But if we take our fan glasses off, I don't know how you would argue with Pat Mahomes being number 1. But Lamar is certainly up there. I think right now he's 3rd all-time winning percentage behind Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, which is certainly a great list of names to be right around. So nothing to be unhappy about there. If he just gets that Super Bowl, that's what he needs to even be launched into that debate. And you need at least to start winning some championships. And I don't know anyone that would really disagree with that. Moral of the story, I'm glad Lamar Jackson's back. I'm glad he's feeling better and going to start getting those valuable reps with this new look Ravens squad before the season in just a couple short months. This offseason feels like forever, but the year is flying. So if you want to stay up to date on breaking stories out of Ravens training camp and just breaking Ravens stories at all, go ahead, hit subscribe, turn on post notifications. I'm going to try to give you the stories as they come out. As always, thank you for giving me a few minutes of your day to tune in. I appreciate it as always, and I will see you all in the next video. Go Ravens.